I made it to March the 9th, 2027. This is your boy Doug. Good morning to those who woke up today to be with the Lord. Happy birthday to those born on March the 9th. My condolences go out to those who do not wake up to be with us. It's your boy Doug. Got 4:32 in the morning. I get up early, I get at it. Quick I can get at it, quick I can make that paper, the quick I get back home. That's what you do when you get old, you know. Got to chase that paper, get that paper, come back home, put that paper in the can, and then sit on the can. Athens, Georgia, home of the Bulldogs. Let's go.
Scott Jennings is fed up with how clueless Abby Phillips is.
Seem to be suggesting we have no allies in this. I watched the president with the Chancellor of Germany today. He strongly supports what we're doing. The UK is feckless, Spain is feckless, but we have plenty of allies in the region and around the world who know we have done the right thing.
To be clear, I just want to reiterate. You just listed a bunch of things. None of them were an imminent attack. But Rita's question is actually
ballistic missiles, Abby. Drones. These are imminent attack weapons.
What proof is there that there were ballistic missiles, that they actually had ballistic missiles that could reach the United States?
Reach U.S. bases. Look at your television. They're falling right now.
Scott Jennings is fed up with how clueless Abby...
If the gas prices go up 15, 20, 30, 40 cents, oh, it's definitely going to affect us. Well, I remember a short while ago, before President Trump was in office, where people were already paying higher than that. You see, what's happening here is people got spoiled. We all got ready to go to the pump and see 275, 260, 199. It was awesome. Now it's back up a little bit and people are like, hey, I didn't vote for this. Yes, you did, because it's still lower than when he took office. Go look it up. Maybe your area, if it's a blue area, it might be different. So I know people can absorb it because they previously absorbed it. And by the way, as you get your tax return and you get more money back in your pocket, you're telling me you can't absorb it? There's no taxes on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, but you're paying a couple dimes higher in gas prices. I call that being spoiled. I call that basically not understanding the good you've been given. What it took to get us to get no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and better refunds from your taxes. Short term.
Yeah, I know that this was a major priority for the president right off the bat, coming up with that reinsurance plan in terms of ensuring that you can get traffic moving at a regular pace once again in the Strait of Hormuz. But oil executives are telling me that more security is needed. So we want to understand specifically when we might see a let up here. It feels like the Iranians are threatening the U.S., saying, yeah, come to the Strait. We welcome you to actually ramp up the fight.
Well, the Iranians are making a lot of threats with their words, but if you look at their actions with respect to their military, they're not as strong or powerful as they were 9 days ago. That is for sure. We have completely wiped out their Navy. Their Navy is now deemed combat ineffective. Their retaliatory strikes with ballistic missiles has decreased 90%. And as their attacks are decreasing, the power and prowess of the U.S. military is increasing. And so we are going to continue to completely obliterate the rogue Iranian regime and ensure that they can never possess a nuclear weapon, that their ballistic missiles can no longer threaten U.S. personnel and our assets in the region. And the mere fact that Iran is now pointing their capabilities at their Gulf partners in the region who have tried to remain neutral and at peace with them for many years, they're targeting civilians. It just underscores the point that this operation was necessary, not just to protect the American people and our assets and troops and bases in the region, but also to ensure a truly safe and prosperous Middle East for the rest of the world. And President Trump is the first president in nearly 5 decades to actually have the courage to do this, and he should be commended for it.
Something she just said there as I was watching it, when she said the prosperity, she's talking about the Iranian people. Now, something else you have to remember. How much money, $1.7 billion in cash, was sent to Iran, did nothing for the people? How many different funds and NGOs have we been funding to supposedly help the people in Iran, but nobody's taken into account all that money that was sent over there was basically stolen. And if you add all this stuff up, when you hear Hakeem Jeffries and what's his name, Schumer, and everybody crying and whining about the cost of the war, they're not telling you what they already spent giving your money away. I would much rather have a return on investment. I would much rather know that we're spending money over there to remove a regime, and this is the part we've not had, and it's going to afford us more prosperity, more profit. I don't think enough people understand that. We're not giving anything away anymore. Now we're going to make these people self-sufficient, and we're going to charge. We're going to rebuild your area. We're going to ensure that ships can go up the Strait of Hormuz, which incidentally caused Lloyd's of London. Initially said, no, we're not going to do it. And now they saw what Trump's going to do. Okay, we'll insure it. They came right back. There are so many moves being made that they're trying to call Trump's bluff, and then they end up having to recapitulate. But they're not telling you all this stuff.
Yeah, and the president had an interesting exchange on Air Force One over the weekend, Carol. I want to get your take about this idea of troops on the ground. Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
All right. So this response is what so many people on the left are pushing out there. So I wanted you to hear specifically the answer to this. Maria asked her, hey, listen, people are worried about the draft. And I'm going to let you hear what Caroline has to say, and then I'm going to point something else out to you. Because the left is running with it. Oh, they're going to do the draft again. Listen to what she says.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. But as commander-in-chief, there's no greater priority or responsibility to this president than, of course, protecting the American people and protecting our troops and our bases in the Middle East, which Iran has been threatening for 47 years. They have killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers, and President Trump was not going to allow Iran to attack our bases and our troops and our men and women in the Middle East first, and that's why he took this historic action by launching Operation Epic Fury.
All right. If you're like me, you heard what she said, and you understand she didn't answer. It's a very easy question. Is he going to do the draft? And the answer to her question is everything's on the table. And the left ran with it to say he's going to do the draft. Here's my response to that. My response is keep them wondering. Let them know I'm willing to do anything to take you guys out. I'm not saying this as a Trump supporter. I'm not saying this as a bootlicker. I understand right now we're basically in war. And I don't want my adversary. I don't want my opponents. I don't want the media. I don't want anybody to know what I'm willing to do. And so what I'm going to tell you is all options are on the table. Now take it back a little bit. If you're waging a battle with somebody and they say to you all options are on the table, maybe you're missing the point here if you're focusing on a draft. Maybe there's a, I don't know, bomb in the future on this island of nothing that just exports oil. Everything's on the table. To me, that's a calm to people, communication. He's willing to do anything to win this war. Does that include a draft? It probably does. But the other side of the coin is we know enrollment is already through the roof. Maria didn't follow up that question. My question would have been, why would you need a draft if enrollment is already off the table? I mean, off the charts. Nobody's thinking about that. We have heard the numbers of enrollment and people going into the military and how big it has been. Overwhelmingly big. Well, if it's overwhelmingly big, then we wouldn't or shouldn't need a draft. But let me just tell you, I'm open to anything. This war or conflict is a utmost priority. Do I think he would do a draft? No, because I think there are too many limp-wristed liberals that would get drafted who would destroy the ability to do anything. But if it gets their panties all in a twist, have at it. Go ahead and scream. Go ahead and put your purple hair to green. I don't care. Open to anything. I would never want to go into a battle and tell you, I'm not willing to do X and I'm not willing to do Y. Is he willing to drop a big bomb? Nothing is off the table. So I believe that's what the answer she was given. I could be wrong.
I mean, the president is also trying to protect elections. So in the middle of all of this, he is talking about the SAVE Act, Caroline. And I want to put up this tweet that the president put out yesterday. Over the weekend, he's been talking about the SAVE Act. And in this tweet, not only does he reiterate the point that you have to have ID to vote, all voters must show voter ID, all voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote, no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travels. But he also adds to this two more items. No men in women's sports, no transgender mutilation surgery for children. Caroline, you've got to explain this to us because already the president is getting pushback from Democrats. They say this is dead on arrival. Why would the president want to muddy up this issue and add transgenderism and no men in women's sports right now when the issue of all voters getting proof of citizenship has already been accepted by some Democrats like John Fetterman?
Because I want to know where you stand. I want to know if you're going to step into this and say you're not going to sign it because, you got to have trannies here. Excuse me, transformers. I want you to tell me. I want you to have the chutzpah to tell America you're willing not to do the SAVE Act. And I'm sure he's talking directly to the Republicans. He didn't care what the Democrats think. The Democrats are already going to, we got to have transformers. We got to have boys. We already know what they think. He's drawing a line in the sand to Republicans. Are you really going to have an issue with these two other things? No boys and girls sports and no transformers. Are you really going to have an issue? I find it interesting that she didn't talk about the entirety of the post. When I'm going to show you the entirety of the post that she just summarized, I wondered, why did you leave off a bunch of it? A whole lot of it. Here's the actual post. Great job by hardworking Scott Presler on Fox and Friends talking about using the filibuster or taking filibuster in order to pass the Save America Act. An 88% issue with all voters. It must be done immediately. It supersedes everything else. Must go to the front of the line. I, as president, will not sign any other bills until this is passed. She didn't even mention that. She didn't even bring it up. And I'm thinking to myself, Maria, I know Fox has been looking kind of stupid. Why did you completely slice his post in half and ignore that? I'm not signing anything until you guys bring me the Save America Act. The Democrats are probably okay with that, by the way. But I'm not signing anything. She didn't even mention it. She did go down to the second part here and says, I, as president, will not sign other bills until this is passed and not the watered-down version. Go for the gold. Must show voter ID, proof of citizenship, no mail-in ballots except for military, illness, disability, travel, no men and women's sports, no transformers, mutilization for children. Do not fail. President Donald J. Trump. Why did she only start and what she showed from here? Why did she ignore everything he said before that? I wish Caroline had come back with her and like, what? Hey, did he not say anything else in that post that you just quoted? You literally just quoted the post. Here, in case that you missed that, now that you've seen it, let me rewind a little bit so you can see exactly what she did. And I have respect for Maria. I have always thought that she is a good host. But why would you have just stopped it there? That's it. In fact, you edited his post. In fact, you went back and looked at an old post. You didn't even show the one from today. This is a Sunday show. He posted this before she went on air. This was posted today, March 8th at 8:22 a.m., and she didn't even bother posting it or even talking about it. Something's going on with Fox.
Must show voter ID. All voters must show proof of citizenship in order to vote. No mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military, or travels. But he also adds to this two more items. No men in women's sports. No transgender mutilation surgery for children. Caroline, you've got to explain this to us because already the president is getting pushback from Democrats. They say this is dead on arrival. Why would the president want to muddy up this issue and add transgenderism and no men in women's sports right now when the issue of all voters getting proof of citizenship has already been accepted by some Democrats like John Fetterman?
There should be no pushback to any of the common sense proposals in the Save America Act. Let's talk about what is in this bill and what President Trump is pushing for here. Mandatory voter ID in the United States of America. 90% of our country, Democrats and Republicans, support this common sense solution to secure American elections. The only people in this country who don't support that are radical left Democrats on Capitol Hill. That's number one. Number two, requiring U.S. citizenship to register to vote. Another common sense measure that absolutely must be done to secure our elections and the future of our country.
Rachel, it's 76.
All right, so President Trump mentioned Scott Presler by name. He spelled his name wrong, I think. I'm not sure what that was all about. But this is Scott Presler, also on Fox.
% of Black American voters, 82% of Latino American voters, 85% of white American voters, 84% of American voters, and total 95% of Republican voters, and 76% of Democrats agree with this bill. When in American history have 84% of Americans ever come together on an issue before? And really, I have a stern and a respectful but a peaceful message. Please, I ask for Senate leadership. I ask for members of Congress, if you want to do right by the American people that duly elected you into the seats that you are in right now, when we gave Republicans the opportunity to lead and be the adults in the room, pass the Save America Act into law. And I think that we are going to see a surge of voters come out in the midterm elections.
What do you think the average voter who's watching right now, the viewers of this show, what can they do to help get this passed, to help you in your efforts?
I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas right now. I ask our beautiful Arkansas voters to call Senators Bozeman and Cotton and court them on behalf of a statement in support of the talking filibuster. I was just in Beaver County, Pennsylvania, and moms and dads, regular, normal voters, they're talking to me about the Save America Act. I have to give a shout out to Senator Dave McCormick, who's in support of the talking filibuster. But Fetterman, we need him on board too. Call my friends at home right now. Well, not right now, but 202-224-3121. That is the Senate Capitol switchboard in support of the talking filibuster.
Yeah, maybe you could tweet out the names of the senators that are holding out on your Twitter account, and people can go and call them. Well, I've always believed that you, Scott, are an American treasure. I've been calling for you to get some sort of Presidential Medal of Freedom. Nobody has done more to inform citizens and empower them with their vote than you have.
I don't know Scott, never met him, but I see how much he's attacked by people on the right. Yes, he's gay. Yes, he's got long, pretty hair. Some people just don't like the fact that he's a gay guy with long hair. But there can be no doubt that he's trying to get as many people to the polls as possible. I don't think that's a bad thing. Especially on this one where it's a 90%, 88, 90% issue. This is a no effing brainer. Why can we not get it done?
And with these other two ideas, with no men in women's sports and with ending transgender surgeries for minor children, these are common sense proposals and policies that, again, are backed by the vast majority of our country. If you look at the public polling from Americans on both sides of the aisle, most Americans don't want young children to be going through gender mutilation surgeries. Most Americans don't want men competing in women's sports. These are winning issues for the American people. They are losing battles for politicians on Capitol Hill, and that's why all members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats, need to pass the Save America Act as soon as possible.
When I was up in Washington and off camera, because I didn't want to put people in a bad situation, one of the things I was asking people is, isn't this a no-brainer? I would get the immediate eye roll. Yeah. Well, if you know it, and you know it, and you know this is a no-brainer, what the hell is going on? And a couple of the people openly expressed disfavor and frustration with John Thune. And I'm like, well, if you guys all know it, why aren't you, one, telling everybody? Are you so afraid of what he might do? And I couldn't get a good answer from it. It left me a little bit stunned. Ashley was there. She like, these people are really weird. Something's got not right. I don't know if they're taking money. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, earlier this week, we find out that they won't even vote to expose the slush funds for their proclivities. There's something really rotten in Washington, D.C. Really stinking rotten.
Real quick, Carolyn, before you go, the president has removed Kristi Noem from the Department of Homeland Security and put in, hopefully, Markwayne Mullin. Will he get confirmed? The governor there in Oklahoma.
You didn't want to find out or ask what Kristi Noem's doing? I'm just saying. You yada, yada, yada. Markwayne Mullin. Maria, you're in the news. Have you not seen what Kristi Noem is now doing? In essence, I believe what Kristi Noem is now doing is a much bigger deal than what Markwayne Mullin is going to be doing. And she just blew past it like it never happened.
Has to name someone on a temporary basis. We're wondering when that confirmation hearing will happen on Markwayne Mullin.
Yes, we are totally confident Senator Mullin will be confirmed, and we're going to work with the Senate to make sure that happens as quickly as possible. And Democrats on Capitol Hill need to fund the Department of Homeland Security. It is absolutely crucial that we get our FEMA workers paid, our TSA agents paid. President Trump has been calling on them to do this for weeks, and it's ridiculous that they're shutting down this department for blatantly political reasons.
I wondered watching that, did Maria Bartiromo actually write up her own questions, or did a producer write it? She left that matzo ball just sitting there. I'm like, you don't want to know the answer to what is Kristi doing? This happened today after what she saw yesterday. Unless, of course, she didn't pay any attention to what we saw yesterday, which we're going to talk about. All right, I'm going to take a 90-second break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the gaggle on U.S. Air Force One yesterday. I wasn't going to, but I saw very few people actually saw it. So we're going to take a look at that. Be right back. so much fun. You know, I know I've never met these people. They've never met me. And sometimes when you're in a situation, you feel a little bit reserved. And it took like 5 minutes for people to warm up because, yeah, we have fun. And then, bam, everything just just flowed, and everybody was just laughing and having a great time. So I'm going to show you guys some of the video Robin took and some of the pictures that took, but we're going to get the other two people down here, and then we're probably going to do it again because I've noticed that when I get to actually meet people and spend some time with them, not just like 2 or 3 hours on the show, but actually let them see I am the same guy, that actually I'm even more personable in person, believe it or not. Even my wife says, yeah, he's okay, big teddy bear. And it was a whole lot of fun talking to these people. Got to meet BJ and his wife Dion, and they're from Florida originally. Dion is from Jamaica, and BJ is from South Carolina, and Robin being formerly from South Carolina. We just had so much to talk about. I think we were there. If I just make sure, I think we were there 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours for dinner, and time just flew by. So I look forward to meeting the next group that comes down here and going to dinner with them. So yesterday afternoon, President Trump came back down here after the dignified transfer, and he did a gaggle where he talks to the press on Air Force One. It was very interesting because Robin and I were sitting out by the pool, and all of a sudden we look up, and we saw Marine One coming back. So, you know, going back between Doral and Mar-a-Lago, pretty cool, impressive to say the least. All right, let's look at this.
Hello, everybody. It's a very sad day, and glad we paid our respects. It's a tough situation. Great people, great parents. Wow.
This is on the airplane, so let me know if I need to turn it up, because in 2026 they still haven't figured out to make the audio on an airplane sound good. So let me know if it's loud enough.
His family and a beautiful ceremony. I guess you got to see that at least once. Any questions?
President Trump, did what you just witnessed make you think differently about going ahead with this war, or even putting troops on the ground in the Middle East?
First question. He just went to the dignified transfer where 6 bodies were brought home. Just what you just saw, does that make you change your mind as to what you want to do? I don't know how he didn't slap him, or Pete Hegseth behind him did just give him drop kick him. You're a friggin' idiot.
We're winning the war by a lot. We've decimated their whole evil empire. It'll continue, I'm sure, for a little while. But very proud of the people, the parents. The parents were so proud of their boy, as they call him, my boy, in case the young lady. The parents are so proud. Many of them are military parents, as you know. So but it's always a very sad thing. The war itself is going unbelievably. It's as good as it can be. We have Pete here. Pete, and you have Steve Witkoff here. We have some additional questions.
You're 1 week in now, sir. You're 1 week in at this point. How long, as of now, do you expect?
Well, I think we've accomplished more in 1 week than I ever thought possible. We've wiped out their Navy, 44 ships. We've wiped out their Air Force, every plane. We've wiped out most of their missiles. You see, the missiles aren't coming much anymore. We've also hit their manufacturing areas where they make the missiles very hard. Their drone capacity is way down. And we've hurt them where it hurts. Including about every form of leadership you can have, we've wiped out.
You still expect up to 6 weeks total?
I don't know. I never reject that, whatever it takes.
You know, they have to know at this point he is not going to break operational security and tell them. So you're going to bomb, Crag Island? You're going to do anything? Stop asking. Stop asking operational questions. How much longer do you think? not going to happen. You're wasting your time. You are idiot people in the media.
But the military is almost non-existent, if you look. We could hit the military itself very hard, but maybe we will, maybe we won't. We haven't made that determination.
What do you think about gas prices? Gas prices right now? Are you worried about gas prices right now?
No. This is a short excursion into something that should have been done for 47 years. 47 years it's taken to do this, and no president had the guts to do it.
You know, another thing about the gas prices I want to impart on you. They obviously had a plan. President Trump yesterday said he had staged this in his mind. He knew he put the right people in place. We're going to do this. They obviously knew the gas prices would potentially spike. They knew that certain people were going to artificially take some profit and gouge people. This is all known. There's no surprise here. The media is trying to make it out like it's a surprise, but again, this is a temporary item, and it's very simple to understand. Right now, people are pulling back because they're concerned they're not getting their supply. Demand has not curtailed. Ergo, if the demand is here and the supply goes down, the prices go up. Conversely, we get more supply and it exceeds the demand, the prices should go down depending on where you live and how much they're taxing you per gallon. And it's like they think a mistake was made. When you're sitting right behind them is the Secretary of War. They know what they're doing. And watch what happens again with that island.
Are you going to end up coming back to Dover for more of these such dignified transfers?
I'm sure I hate to do it, but it's a part of war, isn't it? Who are you with?
The Washington Post.
What do you say it's a part of war?
I love it. Shows you how ill prepared these people are. Would you say this is a part of war? You can't even answer that question. Is death a part of war? Be a man, reach down, grab it, and say, hey, is death a part of war? And the president just asked you a question. The leader of our country asked you a question and you're choking on your tongue. Come on, man or mouse? Yes, sir. Yes, death is a part of war. It's pretty simple.
It's our part of war. It's part of war. It's a sad part of war. It's the bad part of war.
Mr. President, did the United States bomb a girls' elementary school in southern Iran on the first day of the war and kill 175 people?
In my opinion, based on what I've seen, that was done by Iran.
Is that true, Mr. Hegseth? It was Iran who did that?
We're certainly investigating.
Still investigating.
But the only side that targets civilians is Iran.
Now, if you're a reporter, wouldn't you know that Iranians put their targets inside of hospitals and schools and things of that nature, that they hide amongst civilians, that they put their own population in danger?
Are you fact checking me?
Wouldn't you know this before you ask the question? Why is it you're trying to make it sound like they wouldn't shoot every single person in a school? Oh, you should know that. You remember October 7th. They took hang gliders and came in and shot people up at a dance party, dance concert. What do you think they would do if they, dropped into, I don't know, Idaho? What if they dropped into a church? Man, these people don't get it.
We think it was done by Iran. Because they're very inaccurate, as you know, with their munitions. They have no accuracy whatsoever. It was done by Iran.
Can you give us an idea of what unconditional surrender looks like to you?
It's embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing at this point. Can you tell us what unconditional surrender means? You must have heard this question 10 times this week. What does unconditional surrender mean? Well, we're going to beat you to a pulp and you say, please stop, Daddy. I don't understand how they don't know that.
What do you want from Iran?
I said, unconditional, not conditional. I said unconditional. It's where they cry uncle, or when they can't fight any longer, there's nobody around to cry uncle.
Yeah, that's not the answer they're hoping for. Cry uncle. You know, this little limp-wristed reporter doesn't even know what that means. You know, unless you've been in a couple with your buddies when you're growing up, what does cry uncle mean? Say it. Call your mama. I'm about to deliver some punishment. These people don't know.
That could happen too, because we've wiped out their leadership numerous times already. So it's if they surrender, or if there is nobody around to surrender, but they're rendered useless in terms of military.
Mr. President, can I ask you what Peter asked you a question yesterday? You said it wasn't the right time in that event, but he was asking whether you have indications of whether Russia is supporting Iran somehow in this.
I have had no indication of that whatsoever. If they are, they're not doing a very good job, because Iran is not doing too well.
What about the Strait of Hormuz? There's no traffic really going through it.
Well, that's, you know, the ship's choices, but we haven't cleaned out. We've wiped out their Navy. The Navy is now at the bottom of the sea. So that's the choice. This is an excursion. We figured oil prices would go up, which they will. They'll also come down. They'll come down very fast, and we will have gotten rid of a major cancer on the face of the earth. We will have taken out a cancer. You know, don't forget October 7th. Don't forget all of the things that have happened over the years, all caused by these people. So what we're doing is a great thing, not only for our country, and not only for Israel, not only for the Middle East, but for the world.
Secretary Bessent announced some moves to temporarily allow certain Russian oil sales to India. Are you considering any other moves, including the SPR?
Well, if there were some, I would do it just to take a little of the pressure off. But I think that the oil pressure, but there's a lot of oil. We've got a lot of oil. Our country has a tremendous amount, and there's a lot of oil out there. That'll get healed very quickly.
Would you consider using the SPR or tapping into the SPR at some point?
Strategic reserve?
Yeah.
Well, I'm the one that built them up. Biden used them so that he could get some extra votes in the election. It turned out it wasn't even him that ran. It was Kamala. And she obviously didn't get any extra votes because we won in an absolute landslide. So he should have used it for that. He used it to I filled it up, and he brought it down to the lowest level it's ever been. We will start at the appropriate time, which is basically a gut instinct. We will start filling up these strategic reserves.
What are the circumstances where you sent in ground troops? How are you thinking about that?
I don't even want to talk about it now. I mean, that's, I don't think it's an appropriate question. You know, I'm not going to answer it. Could there be? Possibly, for very good reason. I mean,
that's the island. That right there could be for good reason. What's that reason? Reporters don't even know to ask the question. What would be the reason? Not the other part of Iran, but taking over the island would be a very good reason.
Have to be a very good reason. And I would say if we ever did that, they would be so decimated that they wouldn't be able to fight at the ground level.
Are you thinking about the oil facility? There's an oil facility kind of on the coast of Iran that could be secured by ground troops. There's been some speculation that could be a target.
I don't know what the speculation is, but I certainly wouldn't be able to tell you that. I'd be in trouble with myself if I told you that.
If you've ever been a study of body language, did you notice what just happened when this guy actually brought up the island? And he kind of smiled. Yeah, I can't tell you that, but you saw the smile on his face.
Mr. President, don't you need ground troops to secure the enriched uranium at the nuclear sites?
To find out about that, we haven't talked about it, but it was a total obliteration. They haven't been able to get to it. Then at some point, maybe we will. You know, that would be a great thing. But right now, we're just decimating them. But we haven't gone after it. But you know, something we could do later on. We wouldn't do it now. Maybe we'd do it later.
You said you want to be involved in the selection of the next leader of Iran. Can you talk to me?
Because I don't want to just come back every 10 years, and mostly you'll have presidents, that won't do that because they don't get it. back every 5 years or every 10 years and do this. So we want to pick a president that's not going to be leading their country into a war. Do you have any questions for Pete or Steve? Come on up.
Mr. Wickoff.
Steve, come on up.
Mr. Wickoff, is there still space to do a deal with whatever is left of the Iranian government?
I think there is. I think that's going to be up to the president. That's what I think. But they didn't seem to be very amenable in those first set of negotiations. You heard what I said. They said we have the inalienable right to enrich. They bragged about having 60% enriched fuel, enough for 11 bombs. They told me and Jared, we're not going to give you diplomatically what you couldn't take militarily. So, I think they're going to need a change of attitude.
What sort of thing do you want to see in a deal? I mean, do you think you have maximum negotiating leverage at this point?
I think the president has proved that we have.
Iran today accused the U.S. of
A lot of negotiating leverage, maybe maximum, but we're not looking to settle. They'd like to settle. We're not looking to settle.
Iran accused
The British government has now offered use of some. The British government has offered use of some bases now, and you had previously said you were very disappointed in them.
Aircraft carriers.
I mean, about British bases. They said
My response that they just put out.
Did you see his response? This reporter said, "Hey, Great Britain, England now wants to give you, use of the aircraft carriers from England. Now you want to help. Good luck with that."
I just put out a response. Give me the offer to send 2 aircraft carriers. Maybe, but they're not sure. I just put out a response to them. I said, we don't need them. It's not the right time. It would have been nice to have had them 2 weeks ago, but the response I put out, I think, says it very well for you.
Iran today accused the U.S. of getting a desalination plant in Iran, and they said that might open the door to other strikes on infrastructure, non-military.
Allow us to also open the door to other strikes against them.
Did you respond to that allegation? Did the U.S. hit the desalination?
They are among the most evil people ever on earth. They cut babies' heads off. They chop women in half. What they did, take a look at October 7th. Take a look at what they've done over the last 47 years. So I know nothing about a desalinization plant other than to say, if they're complaining about a desalinization plant, we complain about the fact that they shouldn't be chopping babies' heads off, okay?
Mr. Wickoff, have you communicated to the Russians not to send targeting information and other assistance to the Iranians?
Strongly said that.
Do you believe that they are?
I hope they're not.
Do you see any evidence?
We don't know, but it's not doing very well. If they are, it's not helping much. If you take a look at what's happened to Iran in the last week, if they're getting information, it's not helping them much.
What would it mean to you if they were? I mean, even if it's not helping the Iranians particularly much, it's still involving themselves in a conflict that they're not directly.
They'd say we do it against them, wouldn't they? Huh? Wouldn't they say that? We do it against them? I don't know. Look, they can give all the information that they want, but the people they're sending it to are overwhelmed. Russia would be overwhelmed too. Anybody would be overwhelmed. We have the greatest military on earth, and I built it in my first term, and unfortunately, I'm forced to use it now. But when you look at what we did with Venezuela, when you look at what we did with the B-2 bombers, it was a very big moment because Iran was going to have a nuclear weapon within 2 or 3 weeks, and that stopped it, and it stopped it cold. And you ask about maybe going back and getting that, something could happen at the right time.
Is Iran running out of missiles and drones, or do you expect those counterattacks to continue with that?
Not only that, manufacturing capability also. We've hit the manufacturing very hard. They're at about 9% of what they sent out in the first 2 days, and we think that's because they don't have that much. We've knocked out about 70% of the launchers. The launchers are a big deal. Very hard to get, very expensive.
I want to talk about leverage. With every passing day, we have more and more leverage because we have more and more capabilities. We're hitting them harder and harder, and they have less of an ability to defend themselves. So we're pressing the offensive every single day, creating all the leverage the president needs for the outcome he wants.
So it sounds like you think they're running out of water, both of the drones and the missiles.
When you look, I mean, they're sending in much less drones. They're being decimated. Now, you know, at some point, I don't think there'll be anybody left maybe to say, we surrender, but they're being decimated. And when you look also, all of a sudden they apologized to the Middle Eastern states that they shot at them. I was very surprised to see they did that, but you mark that down as a victory for us and for the Middle Eastern states who are really friends of ours. But I guess they're not going to be shooting at them anymore. They apologized, and we'll see what happens. But that's a big loss. That's a surrender right there. I called it a surrender today. When they apologized and said they're not shooting at them anymore, that's really a surrender to those states and to us. Okay, anything else?
Some Iranians are concerned that the Kurds will carve out kind of an autonomous region as they did in Syria and Iraq.
We're not looking to the Kurds going in.
So there was a story a couple days ago that the Kurdish forces were going to come in by land and do the wet work on the ground to wrap things up. And then it seems like President Trump put that on hold. Not sure why, but as of right now, they're not moving forward.
We're very friendly with the Kurds, as you know, but we don't want to make the war any more complex than it already is. No.
Rule that out.
We don't want, yeah, I have ruled it out. I don't want the Kurds going in. I don't want to see the Kurds get hurt, get killed. We've had a good relation. They're willing to go in, but I've told them I don't want them to go in.
Do you think the map of Iran will look the same?
The war is complicated enough without getting the Kurds involved.
And do you think the map of Iran looks the same after this is all done?
All right, so this question really freaked out the libs. Does the map of Iran look the same after this entire operation is done? And his answer here freaked people out for some reason. I don't know why, because it's absolutely true.
That I can't tell you. Probably not.
You know if any shipping companies have taken the U.S.
So that little quip probably won't look the same when we're done. Well, what happens to cause a map not to look like it did beforehand? If you ever seen a hurricane, you can see things get moved and, you know, they're no longer the way they are. So the map, which also would include boundaries, would include borders. And he just said, nope, it's not going to look the same after we're done.